Chancellor, President, Dean, Registrars, members of faculty, distinguished guests, and most importantly, our new graduates and your families. You're all most welcome to RCSI this morning. Before declaring open the conferring ceremonies of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland and the National University of Ireland, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce the platform party to you. On the stage, the table to the front, from your right, is Dr. Maurice Manning, Chancellor of the National University of Ireland. Beside him, Professor John Hyland, President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. To the back of the stage, again from your right, is Dr. Attracta Halpin, Registrar of the National University of Ireland. Mr. Niall Byrne, Registrar and Chief Executive of the Pharmaceutical Society of Ireland. Professor Denny Woodmansey, Programme Director of the Physician Associate Studies Programme at RCSI. Professor James Paul O'Neill, Medical Director of the Physician Associate Studies at RCSI. Professor Arnie Hill, Head of the School of Medicine and of the Physician Associate Studies Group at RCSI. Professor Paul Gallagher, Head of the School of Pharmacy at RCSI. Ms. Judith Gilroy, Associate Director for Academic Affairs at RCSI. Mr. Matthew Lynch, NBIP Programme Director of the School of Pharmacy at RCSI. Dr. Pauline Joyce, Academic Director of the Physician Associate Studies Programme at RCSI. Professor Niamh Moran, Head of the School of Postgraduate Studies at RCSI. Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee, our candidate for Honorary Doctorate this morning. Professor Hannah McGee, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, RCSI. And my name is Cathal Kelly, Chief Executive of RCSI. I'd like to invite all the graduates to please stand, and I call on the Registrar of the National University of Ireland to formally open the conferring ceremonies.
Universitas Hiberniae Nationalis, pre honorables cancellariae, totaque universitas, haec comitia universitaria, hodie convocata sunt, ut he mulieres maxime eximiae, et he viri maxime eximii ad grados academicos admittantur. This is a meeting of the National University of Ireland for the purpose of conferring degrees. The graduands will be presented by Professor Cathal Kelly, Chief Executive and Registrar of RCSI, and the degrees will be conferred by Dr. Maurice Manning, Chancellor of the National University of Ireland.
Would the graduates for the degree of Master of Pharmacy and Master in Science and Physician Associate Studies only remain standing? Other graduates can be seated. As I now call upon Professor Hannah McGee, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, to come forward to recite the graduate declaration. Graduates, you'll find the declaration on page 8 of your conferring booklet.
The RCSI Graduate Declaration, which we will recite this afternoon, first with the Master of Pharmacy and Master of Science and Physician Associate Studies, and shortly with the remaining graduates, is a commitment to the highest standards of professionalism and ethical practice in your career as taught during your studies in RCSI. And it gives me great pleasure on this special day of your conferring to invite you, the graduates of Master of Pharmacy and Master of Science and Physician Associates, to recite after me and together the declaration. I will practice my profession in Pharmacy and Physician Associates with conscience and dignity.
I now invite the graduates for the Master of Pharmacy only to remain seating as I present you for conferring. Other graduates may sit. Pre honorabilis Chancellariae, totaque universitas, presento vobis has meus filios filusque meos, quos omnis sitam moribus, quam doctrina habiles, et uneus esse que admittur ad graduum magisterii in pharmacia, idique tibi fide mea testor, expondeo totaque academiae.
Ego auctoritata mihi concessa, admitto vos ad gradum magisterii in pharmacia.
I now invite Mr. Matthew Lynch of the National Pharmacy Intern Programme, Programme Director from the School of Pharmacy at RCSI, to introduce the graduates.
I will now invite each graduate to come forward to receive their parchment. Brian James. Mona Kipinga. Carmen McKeown. Stephen O'Brien. Patrick O'Keefe. The following candidates will be conferring in absentia today. If you're watching via live stream, we wish you congratulations on your achievement. Ciara Hughes, Colin Murphy, Stephen Walsh and Robert White.
Would the graduates of Master of Science, Master of Surgery, Doctor of Medicine and Doctor of Philosophy please be upstanding as I invite Professor Hannah McGee, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, to recite the graduate's declaration with you.
Graduates would repeat after me the declaration which is on page 9 of your conferring booklet. I acknowledge my position at the forefront of my field of learning and scholarship. I understand my responsibility to use this learning to contribute and lead in my community. I will respect the utmost of human life. I will respect the confidential information that is entrusted to me. I will not permit considerations of age, disease or disability, creed, ethnic origin, gender, nationality, political affiliation, race, sexual orientation, social standing or any other factor to interfere with my duties in my chosen profession. I will not use my knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, even under threat. I will respect the hard-earned scientific gains of those in whose steps I follow, and gladly share such knowledge with those that follow. I will promote high standards of practice, lifelong education and research in the use of human health. I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honour.
If the candidates for degree of Master of Science only could remain standing, others may be seated. Pre honorabilis Chancellariae, totaque universitas, presento vobis has meos filius filusque meos, quos omnis sitam noribus, quam doctrina habiles, et uneus esse quid admittur, ad graduum magisterii scientiae, idique tibi fide mea testor, expondeo totaque academiae.
Ego auctoritata mihi concessa, admitto vos ad gradum magisterii scientiae.
This is a very special day for everyone here, but it's also a very special first day for RCSI. We are delighted today to welcome the first cohort of the Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies in the Republic of Ireland. The conferring of these graduates represents a number of firsts. They are first to graduate from a newly established RCSI clinical programme. They are the first Irish-trained physician associates, and they are the first to enter the Irish healthcare workforce. Ireland now joins other nations of the world in including physician associates as members of the healthcare team. This is truly a historic event. We as a college are really proud of their achievement and proud and grateful to all the members of our faculty who have worked so hard to make this achievement possible. I now invite Dr. Pauline Joyce, Academic Director of the Master of Science in Physician Associate Studies at RCSI, to come forward to present the graduates for conferring.
Patricia Anderson. Michael Mishlav Buljabasic. Jessica Hosford Maddock. Maria Macken. Kira Melia. Alexandra Troy.
It now gives me great pleasure to invite Professor Niamh Moran, Head of the School of Postgraduate Studies at RCSI, to present the graduates for the Masters of Science through Research.
I now call on each graduate to come forward to receive their parchments. Rachel McConnell. Claire O'Neill. Aoife Ward. One candidate will be conferred in absentia today, and if he's watching via live stream, we wish him congratulations on his achievement, and that is Dirpak Caravelli.
For the award of the degree of Master of Surgery MCH by module, Pre Honorabilis Cancellariae Totaque Universitas, presento vobis hunc meum filium, quos omni si tam moridas, quam doctrina habilem et oneum, quasi qui admittor ad graduum magisterii in chirurgiae, idique tibi fide mea testor expondeo, totaque academiae.
Ego auctoritata mihi concessa, admitto te ad gradum magisterii in chirurgia.
My understanding is this candidate will be awarded their degree in absentia, and if they are watching by live stream, our congratulations to Dr. Ali Zawar. I now invite the graduates of Doctor of Medicine, MD, to be upstanding as I present you for conferring. Pre Honorabilis Cancellariae Totaque Universitas, presento vobis has meus filius filusque meos, quos omni si tam moribus, quam doctrina habiles et honesti, qui admittor ad graduam doctoratus in medicina, idique tibi fide mea testor, expondeo totaque academiae.
Ego auctoritata mihi concessa, admitto vos ad gradum doctoratus in medicina.
Professor Niamh Moran, Head of the School of Postgraduate Studies, will present the graduates.
I now invite each graduate to come forward and receive your parchment, and I'll read the title of the thesis that you submitted as you process. Naomi Burke, for her thesis entitled Platelet Function in Normal Pregnancy. Owen DeBarra, for his thesis entitled CHAD63CS and MVA-CS Novel Malaria Vaccine Candidates. Aiton Kent, for a thesis entitled Placental Pathology in Twin Pregnancies. Sami Ahmed Mohammed Omar, for his thesis entitled Geographical Variation in Incidence of First Episode Psychosis by Place at Birth versus Place at Onset and Relationship to the Social Environment in the Cavan Monaghan First Episode Psychosis Study. Shazrinazam Shaharan, for her study entitled A Study to Design an Objective Scoring System for Basic Surgical Skills. And Michael Williamson, for his study entitled The Role of Competitive Glycosamine-Glycan Binding in Determining the Inflammatory Profile of the Cystic Fibrosis Airways.
For the award of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, PhD, I invite the graduates to be upstanding. Pre honorabilis Chancellariae, totaque universitas, presento vobis has meas filios, velosque meos, quos omni si tam moribus, quam doctrina habilis esse, qui admittur ad graduam doctoratus philosophiae, idaque tibi fide mea testor, expondeo totaque academiae.
Ego auctoritatem mihi concessa, admitto vos ad gradum doctoratus philosophiae.
Professor Niamh Moran from the School of Postgraduate Studies will introduce the graduates.
Okay, I now invite each graduate to come forward and receive their parchment, and again I'll read the title of your thesis as you come forward. Rana Bakhaider, for her thesis entitled Nanoparticles Used in Drug Delivery and Targeting, Understanding the Relationships Between Nanoparticle Quality and Interaction with Platelets. Alico Brown, for her thesis entitled Integrative Analysis of the SRC1 Regulated Transcriptional Networks Promoting Endocrine Resistance in Breast Cancer. Carlos Brun, for his thesis entitled Politics and Policy Processes of Global Health Partnerships, the Case of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Paolo Budri, for his thesis entitled Evidence of a Role of Coagulase Negative Staphylococci and Their Biofilms in the Historic and Future Evolution of Staphylococcus aureus, including MRSA. Annette Burns, for her thesis entitled Smoking and Smoking Cessation in Those with Mental Health Difficulties in Ireland. Fernando Cabral Sales de Oliveri, for his thesis entitled Electrospinning and Electrospraying of Unsaturated Polymacrolactones, Alternative Material for Biomedical Applications. Amy Cole, for her thesis entitled The Identification and Characterization of Genetic Signals of Selection in High-Altitude Populations. Dario Destro for a thesis entitled Development of Phase Transfer Catalyzed Amidation and Cyclization Reactions. Benjamin Doherty for a thesis entitled ADAM22 as a predictive marker for endocrine-resistant metastatic breast cancer and LGI1 mimetic as a common therapeutic. Tatiane Efruza da Silva for her thesis entitled Tissue-Engineered Vascular Grafts, Recellularization and Surface Functionalization with Hybrid Magnetic Nanomedicine developed with theranostic potential. Laura Gallagher for her thesis entitled Development of Functionalized Hydrogels to Enhance Stem Cell Delivery and Integration into the Ischemic Myocardium. Donald Keoghan for his thesis entitled The Development of Metallohydroxymates as Novel Antibacterial and Anti-Leishmanial Agents. William Arthur Lackington for his thesis entitled Advanced Scaffold-Based Therapeutics for Peripheral Nerve Repair. Franklin Lincoln for his thesis entitled Molecular Patterns Underlying Trail Sensitization by IAP Antagonist TL32711 in Glioblastoma. Cathy Monteith for her thesis entitled The Assessment of Maternal Hemodynamic Profile via Transthoracic Bioreactants as a Screening Tool for the Early Prediction of Preeclampsia and Normotensive Fetal Growth Restriction. Gemma O'Connor for her thesis entitled Development of Inhaled Antitubercular Therapies Using Bioactive Carriers. Shane O'Grady for his thesis entitled Investigation of the Functional Roles of Calcium Channels, Inflammatory Cytokines and Tumour Microenvironmental Factors in a Human In Vitro Model of Breast Cancer Calcification. Christina Payne for her thesis entitled The Development of Hydrogels and Nanoparticles for Drug and Cell Delivery to Distal Airways. Sinead Quinn for her thesis entitled Aldosterone Regulation of Protein Kinase D and Sodium Resorption in the Renal Cortical Collecting Ducts. Rana Raouf for her thesis entitled Could Extracellular MicroRNAs Act as Novel Biomarkers of Temporal Lobe Epilepsy? Anya Ryan for her thesis entitled Multimorbidity, the Impact of Physical Activity and Physical Function on Risk and Outcomes. Rukmani Sridharan for her thesis entitled Investigating Biomaterial-Based Biophysical Cues for Modulating Macrophage Polarization Towards Bone Regeneration Applications. David Walsh for his thesis entitled The Evaluation of Star-Shaped Polypeptides for Gene Delivery in Tissue Engineering. And Louise Walsh for her thesis entitled Targeting Aberrant Transcription in Invasive Lobular Carcinoma Breast Cancer. There are 4 candidates who will be conferring in absentia today, and if they're watching via live stream, we wish them congratulations on their achievements. They are Anna Awar for her thesis entitled Effects of Service Integration on Utilisation, Coverage and Workload, a Ugandan Case Study. Brian Mooney for his thesis entitled The Role of Anorectic Neuropeptide CART in Breast Cancer. Finian O'Brien for his thesis entitled An Investigation into the Neurobiology of Psychogenic Non-Epileptic Seizures. And Elspeth Ward for her thesis entitled SOC1 Mediates DNA Methylation Driving a Differentiated State in Endocrine-Resistant Breast Cancer. Thank you.
We now reach the conferment of the degree of Doctor of Medicine, DMed. Degrees on published work awarded by the National University of Ireland are the highest qualification awarded by the university and signify scholarship of international distinction. They are awarded to scholars who have, over a sustained period, published a substantial body of groundbreaking and influential work in a field of specialization and who've achieved outstanding distinction internationally in that field. A small, but I'm happy to say a growing number of graduates and members of staff of RCSI have been awarded NUI degrees on published work, and I'm really delighted to present for conferring today with the degree of Doctor of Medicine, DMed, Professor Michael Solomon, graduate and honorary fellow of RCSI. Since graduating from RCSI in 1984, Professor Solomon has gone on to enjoy a stellar career. He's now consultant surgeon, academic head of the Department of Colorectal Surgery at the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in Sydney. Based on his extensive experience in clinical surgical research, the substantial body of published work for which he is awarded this degree, comprising over 250 peer-reviewed publications in the field of minimally invasive colorectal cancer, where he has made important discoveries and created new knowledge. His international distinction and influence in this field is evidenced by over 10,000 citations. Could I invite Professor Solomon, our graduate, to please stand for conferring. Pre Honorabilis Chancellari, totaque Universitas, presento vobis hanc meum filium, quis honoribus quam doctrina habilem et uneum esse quid mitor ad graduum doctoratus in medicina. I now invite the Chancellor of the NUI to invite the graduate.
Ego auctoritata mihi concessa, admitto te ad gradum doctoratus in medicina.
It gives me great pleasure to invite Professor Michael Solomon, RCSI graduate of 1984, to come forward to receive his parchment from the Chancellor of the NUI. The Registrar of the NUI, Dr. Attracta Halpin, will now formally close the NUI conferring ceremony.
Pre Honorabilis Cancellarie totaque Universitas, ceremonies vitae confectis, queso facias finem huius convocationem universitatis. That completes the NUI conferring ceremony.
Sincere congratulations to all our new graduates. At this point, we now proceed to the conferring of the award of Honorary Doctorate of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. I now invite the Honorary Doctorate recipient, Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee, to take his place on the stage for the commencement of the Honorary Doctorate Award. RCSI established an annual Honorary Doctorate Award in 2011 to recognise excellence and to provide an inspiration to you, our graduates, on your graduation day. The awardees are exceptional people who've made a difference to the world through education, research or service. Previous recipients include Mary McAleese, former President of Ireland, the Right Honourable Professor the Lord Ara Darcy, RCSI 1983 graduate and Chair of Surgery in Imperial College in London, Professor Abraham Verghese, Stanford medic and well-known author. Others include the Honourable Mrs. Catherine McGuinness, former member of the Irish Supreme Court, and last Friday, Dr. Barbara Murphy, RCSI class of 1989, Chair of the Department of Medicine and Dean for Clinical Integration at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai. We, as RCSI staff, believe that you, our graduates today, will also make a difference for good in the world. And we want, through hearing the stories of these awardees and their words, to inspire and to challenge you on this special day to make a difference. I now call on the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, Professor Hannah McGee, to introduce the Honorary Doctorate awardee, Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee, Associate Professor of Medicine, Columbia University Medical Center, New York. The doctorate will be awarded by Professor John Hyland.
President, it is with great pleasure that I introduce our candidate for the RCSI 30th of May 2018 Honorary Doctoral Award, Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee. Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee, BS, DPhil, MD, is Assistant Professor of Medicine at Columbia University Medical Center, New York, and a pioneering physician, oncologist, and researcher. He is the celebrated 2011 Pulitzer Prize-winning author of The Emperor of All Maladies, a biography of cancer. Having left New Delhi, India, to study in the US, Dr. Mukherjee received a BS in biology from Stanford before studying as a Rhodes Scholar at Magdalen College, Oxford, completing a DPhil in immunology. He then completed his medical studies at Harvard University, earning his MD degree in the year 2000. And by a strange coincidence last night, we discovered he was taught anatomy there by our own Professor of Anatomy, Professor Clive Lee, who was on sabbatical on a Fulbright in the mid-90s. So it's a small world. Dr. Mukherjee then worked as a resident in internal medicine at the Massachusetts General Hospital before training in oncology as a fellow at Boston's Dana-Farber Cancer Institute and the Mass General Hospital. In 2009, he took up his current post as Assistant Professor of Medicine at Columbia University Medical Center in New York City. He has been the Plummer Visiting Fellow at the Mayo Clinic, Rochester, Minnesota, the Joseph Garland Lecturer at the Massachusetts Medical Society, and an Honorary Visiting Professor at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in Baltimore, Maryland. Dr. Mukherjee has received numerous awards for his scientific work and has widely published original research in peer-reviewed scientific journals including Nature, Cell, Neuron, the New Journal of Medicine, and the Journal of Clinical Investigation. His research focuses on acute myeloid leukemia, hematopoiesis, drug development, and cancer biology. Dr. Mukherjee is perhaps best known for his books. His Pulitzer Prize-winning book, The Emperor of All Maladies, A Biography of Cancer, 2010, traces cancer from its earliest recorded history to modern-day therapies and describes a patient's journey from cancer diagnosis through to treatment and discharge. The book acknowledges the importance of quality research and the appreciation and understanding of the molecular basis of a disease in order to develop new effective treatments. It demonstrates the progress that has been made in cancer research over the past 20 years, some cancers now being curable and many cancers being treatable. The Emperor of All Maladies has been adapted into a documentary by filmmaker Ken Burns and was included amongst Time magazine's 100 best non-fiction books of the past century. His most recent work, The Gene, An Intimate History, which has won many international awards and was recognized by the Washington Post and the New York Times as one of the most influential books of 2016. It takes the complex history of the topic of the history of genetic research, combining science and personal accounts of people with diseases. His outstanding literary skill provides a narrative that is so readable, informative, and sympathetic that not only can we relate to each person described, but we also learn and absorb core science. We know of Dr. Mukherjee as a compassionate doctor and a groundbreaking researcher, providing hope for many patients and their families. He continues to lead the field of innovative delivery of targeted treatments, focusing on biological and cellular therapies. In 2014, the Government of India conferred Dr. Mukherjee with its fourth highest civilian award, the Padma Shri. Sid, as you're called, we are delighted to welcome you here today. We are very proud that you, as a most worthy candidate, have joined our special graduation today to accept the highest academic honour of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, the Honorary Doctorate in Science. I now call on the President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland to make the award.
By virtue of my office as President, I'm delighted to award the 11th Honorary Doctorate of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland.
It now gives me enormous pleasure to invite our latest, most recent honorary doctorate awardee, Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee, to address our graduates, staff and guests.
Thank you. Congratulations to the graduates of 2018. It's an immense honor to welcome you to the ranks of your graduate degrees. The college around you was established in 1784. Let's take a moment to think about what life was like at that time. Well, first of all, most of you would not be here. You would not have survived the first year of life because infant mortality was so staggering. And I would not be here to give this talk because I would likely be dead from an infectious disease. Your professors, your teachers, they would not be here either. If you had a minor accident, it would likely sour into a full-blown catastrophe. Childbirth would not be a celebrated moment, but also a dreaded, deadly moment, carrying massive mortality risks for the mother and the child. Surgeons, or sometimes glorified barbers with rusty knives, would operate from their homes and shops, with patients drugged on alcohol and opium. If a surgical instrument fell on the floor, the surgeon might wipe it on the gown or sharpen it on a wheel while you waited on the gurney and continue operating on you as if nothing had happened. In place of this sea of smiling and expectant faces, I would be looking out into a decimated auditorium, the chairs only half full, with a group of anxious men and women who would have perhaps only 10 or 15 more years to live and the possibility of a terrifying death to look forward to. Now that I've made you really happy about your fate and success in just surviving your graduate years, let's remind ourselves of the transformation that happened in the span of the 250 odd years since that time. What was this transformation? We might call it the birth of scientific medicine, medicine based on the rational precepts of science. We take many of the precepts of scientific medicine at face value today because, like the air we breathe or the water we drink, it seems to be so omnipresent in our lives that we can scarcely notice it. But it's important to remember that it was a radical idea for its time. Take just one instance, take surgical sterilization. It was based in turn on the microbial theory of disease, that sepsis and infections were not visitations of fate or bad luck or miasma, but were caused by invisible but material organisms called microbes that you couldn't see. What an absurd thought. But that theory in turn was based on the invention of the microscope. In the 1670s, for instance, a lens maker named Anton Leeuwenhoek looked down an instrument made with a series of lenses and found, bizarrely, that a droplet of water was in fact teeming with life. The physician Nicholas Andry imagined that these microscopic worms, as he called them, were responsible for diseases such as smallpox. A Hungarian obstetrician named Ignaz Semmelweis showed that childbirth fevers were caused by the carriage of infectious particles, material particles, that were transferred from one patient to another by virtue of a surgeon's unwashed hands. The epidemiologist John Snow used this idea to show that epidemics spread through the spread of these microbial matter, the morbid matter, as he called it, in water and sewage. Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch formalized the germ theory of disease by creating rules by which germs spread and cause illness. And then nearly two centuries after this, after Leeuwenhoek had looked down the microscope, Joseph Lister steeped his surgical instruments in carbolic acid and sterilized them, thereby preventing infections. Two principles of scientific medicine stand out from this story above. The first is that it was based not on a single lone scientist sitting down or looking up and down a microscope, but on a community of scholarship handed down from one scientist to the next. In fact, we might imagine science and medical science as one of the most beautiful, continuous conversations in the history of humankind. In part, this conversation has been enabled because the meanings of the words remain largely the same. A microbe in 2018 is a microbe in 1674. A triangle in 2018 means the same thing that it did to Pythagoras. Think of another discipline where the meanings of words have retained such consistency or such constancy across thousands of years, thereby allowing one scholar present today to talk across generations to his or her predecessor who lived 600 years ago as if they were sitting next to them. That is the value, that is the most beautiful thing that we produce in science and in medicine. The point is this: today marks your entrance into this community of scholars. Do not take this community for granted. Listen to the work of others. Take the reviews of your peers seriously, even if you think that they're utterly foolish for rejecting your paper. And be careful about the meanings of words. Science is not fake news. Define meanings carefully and measurably so that others can understand what you mean and follow your own footsteps. The second principle is that scientific medicine exemplifies the twin engines at the heart of science: the exploration of nature and the emancipation of human suffering. Anton Leeuwenhoek looks down his series of lenses to find a new world teeming with bacterial life. Lister sterilizes surgical equipment with chemicals to save human lives. They are the twin faces of scientific medicine, one looking downwards to satisfy curiosity by understanding the natural world, the other trying to diminish human suffering by turning discoveries into medical cures. The second point is this: remember these twin faces of scientific medicine as you move forward in your life after graduation. Everything that you do, not just the experiments in your lab or the papers that you write, but I mean everything. The way you read the newspaper, or debate political issues with your friends, or the way you choose to live your life in the world, is now traveling, optically as it were, through the twin lenses. You must discover truths, and you must use these truths to alleviate and relieve human suffering. These are the twin engines at the center of your new life. This is the responsibility that you've chosen by being part of this community and by being the inheritors of the legacies of people like Semmelweis, Pasteur, and Lister. In writing this talk, I often return to the metaphor of the microscope. It is an instrument that allows you to see an invisible natural world, but also an instrument used to diagnose and treat human disease. At one university, every graduate was given the parting gift of a microscope. But in a sense, each of you is getting that gift today, only perhaps keeping with the spirit of the times, it's a virtual gift. It's a way of seeing the world. Looking down and discovering the natural world, and looking up and using that discovery for human emancipation. Congratulations on this inheritance, on the inheritance of this virtual microscope. Carry it carefully, for its lenses might break, and carry it carefully, for it will do us all a world of good. And remember that without it, without the community of scientific medicine that you are now indelibly, inescapably part of, you would not be sitting in this audience this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukherjee. Indeed, a very inspiring talk. This is a health sciences institution, and central to us and with the hallmarks of a career in health science is professionalism. And with professionalism comes the sense that patients come first and clinical demands come first, and we need to be flexible in response to that. And emphasising that point of flexibility, it is my understanding that one of our graduates in absentia has been able to join us, just held back by clinical commitments. You're very welcome. It's either Deepak Karavelli or Ali Zamar. Dr. Ali Zamar is a surgical candidate who's achieved an MCH through modules, and with the indulgence of our Chancellor and President, I'd like to call Dr. Ali Zamar, delayed by clinical commitments, to come forward to receive his parchment. Thank you very much. We now move to the presentation of the Physician Associate Gold Medal. This is awarded in recognition of the student who's performed at the highest level over the 2 years of the programme study. I'm delighted to invite Maria Mackin to come forward to receive the Physician Associate Gold Medal, which is the first one ever awarded in RCSI and indeed in Ireland. It will be presented by our President, Professor John Hyland. RCSI is at the forefront of simulation in education, and as you'll have noticed, this is a virtual medal on this occasion. But I can assure you the medal and the candidate will be united. I'm now delighted to invite Dr. Annette Burns to come forward to deliver the student address on behalf of the class of 2018.
Good afternoon, everybody. President, Vice President, Chancellor, Chancellor of NUI, the Dean, Council, Supervisors, Registrars, Heads of Schools, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow graduates. I'm honoured and humbled to be standing here in front of you all today, and I'd like to start by congratulating all of my fellow graduates on your outstanding academic achievements. I'm sure at times we thought this day would never come. I know I did. But today we graduate 4 MScs by research, 6 MDs and 28 PhDs, and representing 5 continents. We're just missing Australia and Antarctica, which is always a bit of a challenge, to be fair. We also come from many different fields of research today: anatomy, population health, general practice, tropical medicine, microbiology, molecular and cellular therapeutics, obstetrics and gynecology, chemistry, physiology, psychiatry, respiratory medicine, medical education, pharmacy, and surgery. But one thing we hold in common is the desire to improve human health. And impactful health research is something RCSI truly excels in. Overall, we are ranked in the top 2% of universities worldwide, while in terms of research, we hold a field-weighted citation impact which is twice the world average. And we can all be proud today to have contributed to this incredible impact on the international health sciences research landscape. In relation to doing research, I was always clear on one thing. I wanted to do research which had social value. And the inherent social value of health research is what, for me, and I'm sure many of my fellow graduates, has spurred us on through the inevitable challenges. And I'd like to share a quote which applies to research in general, but seems particularly pertinent in relation to health. As Marie Curie said, "Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less." This understanding, however, would never have been possible without the help and support of so many. Our supervisors who guided us through the wilderness, helping us to grow into the researchers we are today. The many funding agencies who made our research possible, as well as the opportunities they afforded us in terms of sharing our research on the international stage at conferences, as well as travelling for placements and collaborations. Our family, friends and partners who supported us throughout this journey, providing much needed breaks and distraction, celebrating our successes, and putting up with us during the challenges. The college and all the staff who supported us, with a special mention to the School of Postgraduate Studies, who were always ready to deal with a flustered student, and welcomed those eventual submissions with such warmth and sincere congratulations. What is a daily task for you was at the same time treated as the momentous occasion it was for us. Finally, we need to thank each other. A long research project can feel a little lonely at times, and there will inevitably be moments of uncertainty and of doubt. As Wernher von Braun, who incidentally was the father of rocket science, once said, Research is what I'm doing when I don't know what I'm doing. But really, research is never an individual endeavour. And I think one thing many of us learn on this journey is the little things that make a difference, not just in terms of looking after ourselves, but in looking after each other. And this is something we can all carry forward in terms of the little things we can do which can make such a big difference. And on that note, I would like to once again congratulate all my fellow graduates and wish you every success in your future career. The sky is the limit, or not even should you take a leaf out of the book of the rocket scientists. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Annette. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce the President of RCSI, Professor John Hyland, to address our graduates and guests.
Chancellor, National University of Ireland, Dr. Maurice Manning, Registrar, CEO of RCSI, Professor Cathal Kelly, Dean of Medical Health Sciences, Professor Hannah McGee, and Registrar of the NUI, Dr. Tracta Halpin, heads of schools, directors of programmes, academic colleagues, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, and especially you, our new graduates. It is a great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome you all here for this special occasion, the conferring ceremony for diploma, master's and doctoral degrees. So I extend also a very warm welcome to your families and friends, many of whom are making their first visit to the college and who have come to share in the celebration of your achievements. So it's an exciting time for RCSI. So may I briefly give you, our visitors, some background as to who we are and what we do in the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. The RCSI, which is now an independent, not-for-profit health sciences institution, was originally founded, as Dr. Mukherjee said, in 1784 by Royal Charter from King George III. That is 234 years ago. And it's been resident on this site in St. Stephen's Green since 1810. The Charter gave the college the power to control the practice of surgery and also to make provision for surgical education. And to this day, as the national training body for all surgical specialties, we continue with this remit. The stimulus for growth in the early days was the demand for Army and Navy surgeons in the Napoleonic Wars. Indeed, you could become the second surgeon on a ship at that time if you had 3 months in college. So very quickly, the powers that be realised that education was important for their doctors, or else their sailors and soldiers would be in major trouble. We are unique in these islands amongst the Royal College of Surgeons of England, Edinburgh and Glasgow in that we have an undergraduate medical school which was founded in 1886 and is now the largest medical school in the state. Our graduates receive licentiates in surgery, medicine and obstetrics from our college, as well as from the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland. And also because RCSI is a recognised college of the National University since 1977, all medical graduates also receive MB, BCH, BAO. In 2010, the college received from government our own degree awarding status. The physiotherapy programme was established in 1999 and the pharmacy school in 2002. So along with our surgical remit over the years, we have expanded therefore into a health sciences institution with undergraduate medical, physiotherapy and pharmacy education and postgraduate education and research in basic sciences, medicine, surgery and pharmacy. Along with this diversity of programs, we also have overseas campuses in Bahrain, Dubai, Kuala Lumpur and Penang, delivering health science education. So we are the only health sciences university in the world providing education, assessment and examination in 3 different time zones. Our 5,500 students are culturally diverse from over 60 countries worldwide. And as a result, our students are specifically tutored in cultural competence. We have a very successful Institute of Leadership both in Dublin and overseas, and there are also postgraduate faculties of surgery, nursing and midwifery, dentistry, radiologists and sports and medicine, exercise medicine. And we've recently established a Health Outcomes Research Centre to provide evidence-based input to improve patient pathways in the clinical care setting. And this unit, we hope, will will provide a platform for both domestic and international thought leadership in the emerging science of system science. So with that short background, I'd just like to congratulate you all again today. Congratulations to our honorary doctors, Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee from New York and Professor Michael Solomon from Sydney, our RCSI alumnus, who has received his Doctorate of Science based on published work. Both of these individuals are world leaders, well recognised internationally in their specialties. So it's a great honour for me to share a platform with them. May I particularly refer now to the first ever conferring in Ireland of the MSc in Physician Associate Studies. Today sees the conferring of 6 graduates from our Physician Associate programme. And these graduates completed the first ever programme of its kind here in RCSI in December last. They are already working in the healthcare system in Ireland across public and private hospitals. And coming with a primary degree in the life of health sciences will bring a new perspective to how healthcare is delivered. A special commendation to all who've made this day happen. To the core team of our relatively new Programme Director, Professor Denny Woodmansey, recently joined us in Washington, D.C., Dr. Pauline Joyce, the Academic Director and Custodian of the studies of our new graduates on their first day in RCSI, and Professor Paul O'Neill as Programme Medical Director and Professor Arnie Hill as overall Programme Sponsor. All are here to acknowledge this unique occasion, and also to the many others in RCSI who have worked for and inspired the delivery of today, too many to mention. Ireland now joins many other nations in including physician associates as members of the healthcare team. We welcome Professor Ruth Ballweg, visiting professor and exceptional friend and advisor to our PA programme. Professor Ballweg was previously Programme Director of the University of Washington's MedX Northeast PA programme for 29 years. She was president of their national professional body and its first lifetime achievement awardee, an advisor to many international sites establishing PA programmes. And we have been honoured with her guidance as we started Ireland's first PA programme. Congratulations, of course, to all of our masters in pharmacy, MScs, MCHs, MDs and PhD. Postgraduate qualifications require focus, they require time management, dedication and real commitment. And it's indeed a tribute to all of you to have been successful in your quest for further professional qualifications, some of you whilst working full-time. I share a particular affinity with you, having struggled to achieve a higher degree by research myself many years ago, and I remember the effort, dedication and inordinate amount of time it took, not only to choose the area of research, but to complete the laboratory experiments. And what I found probably the most difficult was the actual writing of the thesis. The phrase "link sentences between chapters" still haunts me. That, of course, was in the days before word processing, so everything had to be typed or handwritten, and cut and paste was literally that. So I appreciate your effort and dedication to reach this stage. It's a tremendous achievement of which you must be immensely proud, and deservedly so. As you will have noticed in the programme, the theses range through an array of subjects to include basic sciences, immunology and applied clinical subjects. And this reflects the breadth and depth of RCSI Health Sciences profile. And so we wish you all every success as you pursue your chosen careers in your chosen fields and continue to advance the frontiers of our knowledge for the benefit of our patients. Enjoy your lives, both personal and professional, and look after yourselves both physically and mentally. Abide by the tenets of your training and professionalism. Remain ever grateful to your families and friends who've supported you to this stage of your careers in so many ways, both financially and personally. And be particularly grateful to your teachers and research supervisors and keep in touch with them. And keep in touch with RCSI and connect with the RCSI alumni network throughout the world, which currently numbers over 15,500 individuals in almost 100 countries. Continue to learn, continue to teach, and continue to research, and you will make a difference. So thank you all, and congratulations.
Thank you, President. It now gives me great pleasure to welcome the great friend and supporter of RCSI's, the Chancellor of the National University of Ireland, Dr. Maurice Manning, to address us.
President of the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, Vice Presidents, Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, registrars, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, but most of all, you are new graduates. As Chancellor of the National University of Ireland, I'm delighted to be here today for the conferring of master's and doctoral degrees. The purpose of a conferring ceremony is to provide a formal and a public endorsement of the individual and the collective achievements of those who have been conferred with master's and doctoral degrees. And in so doing, we highlight the value to the individual and to society of postgraduate study across a range of disciplines in and related to medicine and the healthcare sciences. Today we have conferred master's degrees and doctoral degrees across a broad range of specialisations, including the newest area to be covered by Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland, that's the Physician Associate Studies. In qualifying for postgraduate degrees, all of you graduating today have deepened your knowledge in your respective disciplines of medicine, pharmacy, and other health sciences. You have broadened your expertise and developed higher level skills. Your intellectual capacity has been stretched beyond what was required for first degrees. Your ability to master substantial bodies of information has been challenged. You have been called on to analyse difficult material, to cope with complexity, and to make sense of sometimes conflicting ideas and contradictory evidence. All of you have conducted research and made your own personal discoveries based on this. In particular, those of you who have completed doctorates have expanded the range not just of your own, but of human knowledge. Through your research, you have generated new knowledge and gained valuable new understandings of the world and the human condition. In the field of medicine and healthcare, research in medical schools, such as RCSI, is generating new knowledge about diseases and about debilitating health conditions, leading to earlier diagnosis, improvements in treatment and care, and decreased rates of mortality. The impressive progress that has been made has, of course, highlighted public expectations of the healthcare system, while at the same time putting extreme pressure on costs. The coincidence of these factors would seem, at least partly, to explain some recent crises in our healthcare system. Ireland is not alone in recent times in experiencing shocks to its health service. And while not wishing in any way, and I won't dampen the celebratory atmosphere of this conferring ceremony, we would be living in a strange bubble here if we fail to make any mention of the wider world of medicine and the controversies that cumulatively have jolted public confidence. While all the facts are not yet known, and while the media have been more than guilty of overhyping, of sensationalism, and of other faults, while all of that is happening, the evidence available so far does point to failures in communication and a failure to put people first. I think there is a great deal we all have to learn from this. As new graduates with higher level qualifications, you can be expected to take up positions of leadership and influence in the health services in Ireland and elsewhere. These are tough, challenging positions where often hard decisions have to be made, delicate balances struck, and answers given to an increasingly demanding public and media. Your education and training here in RCSI will have equipped you well to face these challenges. The declaration you have made earlier will point you in the right direction. Always be guided in your decisions by an overriding concern for the individual or individuals affected by them, and ensure that you get your message across clearly and honestly. On behalf of the National University of Ireland, I welcome you who have been conferred this afternoon into the postgraduate ranks of the university, and I wish you continued success and professional fulfilment in your career. You can certainly, and your families can, take great pride what you have accomplished. Your families who have supported you in many different ways can also take pride in your achievements and celebrate with you today, and most of all, breathe a great sigh of relief that is all over for the moment at least, and it has come to a successful conclusion. Now, as has been mentioned, higher doctorates of the National University of Ireland are the highest qualifications awarded by the university. They are awarded on published work, and it is a particular pleasure to confer one of these degrees. And I am very pleased to congratulate Professor Michael Solomon on his D.Med degree and to welcome him into this elite rank of NUI graduates. And this list the small number of graduates who achieved this degree, it's a very small number, but a number have come from RCSI, and I want to mention in particular our Dean of Medicine, Professor Hannah McGee, who also, of course, received this award, and like myself, is a Carlovian, which is a very important publication. But it's wonderful that we have Michael Solomon here today for this occasion, and to salute the great achievements he has made, the international reputation he has, but also to discover what a nice, humane person he is. Thank you. On behalf of the university, I'd like to congratulate RCI's latest honorary graduate, Dr. Siddhartha Mukherjee. Sorry about that. He has done amazing work in cancer research, which has deepened our understanding of the disease and its causes and enabled more effective treatment. In health terms, I think many would regard cancer as the scourge of our age, and we have reason to be grateful for the work of brilliant researchers in this area, and among whom our recipient today is foremost. And you will also have noticed, those of you who heard him on radio yesterday, who listened to him on the Pat Kenny or the Sean O'Rourke show yesterday morning and heard him here today, will realise that he has a quality that is increasingly important in medicine, and that his ability to communicate with great clarity, great accuracy, and in a way which engages the attention of his listeners. So well done. Now, this conferring today, there's a slight sadness in this conferring today for me, because it's the last conferring, I believe, of our current president, Professor John Hyland. And for the last 2 years, and for the 2 years before that while he was vice president, I had the honour of taking part in many conferring ceremonies with him. We haven't yet decided which of us takes precedence. You know, the person who walks in last in the procession is the top dog. And we have always walked in side by side. So we have, I don't know how it will work out with the next president. I'm sure we'll probably have the same thing. But these things can be very important in the academic world, where small matters can last a great deal. But I want to say to John that during those 2 years, I have enjoyed his friendship, his kindness, his courtesy, his great common sense, and the fact that he never gets rattled. Everything is calm, and he calms those around him. And I think he has made a great contribution in his 2 years as president. And this is his last conferring today. I really want to say, wish him well and thank him for all that he has done. In conclusion, I just want to say that for all at RCSI, the conferring of a new cohort of graduates with qualifications up to the highest postgraduate level is an occasion for pride. It signals the latest achievements of an ambitious and dynamic college, poised for further expansion. NUI supports RCSI in its recently announced plans to create a vibrant University Quarter here in St. Stephen's Green. This will be a very positive development, not only for higher education, but also for the city. So on behalf of the National University of Ireland, I wish the college well in bringing these plans to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. That concludes the RCSI postgraduate degree conferring ceremonies. Can I once again congratulate our graduates? We're enormously proud of your achievement. Can I take the opportunity to thank our professional and academic staff who worked so hard to make this success possible? I'd like to particularly thank and acknowledge our clinicians, our academics, our professional staff who've taken time out of their busy day to be here to bear witness and celebrate your success with you. I would like to invite you and your guests to join us for a reception in the boardroom. I'd ask the graduates to remain here first for group photographs, and finally, if I can ask you to be upstanding for the outward procession.